Tonight, on Limited Filibuster, we will be discussing marijuana legislation. Should it be handled by the states or the federal government? A classic battle of federalism seen through the many eras of United States history. Representing the states is Isaac Turner. And representing the feds, we have Andrew Hudson. But first, a brief introduction to marijuana and its history of legalization in the United States. Marijuana, also known as weed or dope, is a psychoactive drug made from the cannabis sativa and cannabis indica plants. The active ingredient in marijuana, which causes the psychoactive effect, is tetrahydrocannabinol, THC for short. When smoked, THC is passed from the lungs into the bloodstream and is carried across the body. THC then acts on brain cell receptors that ordinarily react to natural chemicals like THC. Some effects of taking marijuana include altered senses, altered sense of time, changes in mood, increased appetite, and impaired memory, among others. In 1970, marijuana was declared a Schedule I drug under the Controlled Substance Act of 1970. The act defines Schedule I drugs as a drug or other substance has high potential for abuse with no currently accepted medical use and treatment in the United States, and has a lack of accepted safety for use of the drug or other substance under medical supervision. Some other drugs listed as Schedule I include LSD, heroin, ecstasy, and peyote. Despite this act making marijuana a federally illegal drug, 24 states, 2 territories, and the District of Columbia have legalized marijuana for recreational use. The first 2 states to pass this law were Colorado and Washington in 2012, with Alaska, Oregon, and D.C. doing the same in 2014. The federal government's inaction to either enforce the Controlled Substance Act or decriminalize marijuana has brought us to today's discussion. I will now turn the discussion over to Isaac and Angela.
Well,
for opening remarks.
Well,
great start.
This weed
Isaac.
junkie is too busy eating food through munchies.
I'm not I can quit anytime I want. All right. But I'm for the states deciding. So that's all I got to say because my opinion's right and Andrew's is not.
Wow.
Listen, state governments should not be responsible for... We're going to restart that. State government should not be responsible to decide whether marijuana should be illegal or not. It should be left up to the federal government who has the power to better regulate. The reasons they would have better power to regulate would be the uniformity of law, the interstate commerce, international relations, public health and safety standards, drug enforcement, preventing a patchwork of laws, addressing potential negative impacts, and historical precedents, which all the federal government would have a better way of controlling rather than a state government.
Intriguing.
Yeah. Wrong. I mean...
Well, let's get to our questions, why don't we?
Yeah.
First, on the docket. How does the 10th Amendment play a role in this debate? First, I'd like to hear arguments from Isaac. Please take it away.
Oh. Well.
Why are you eating?
This is not, like...
I'm hungry.
You had all of that time during setup to eat. And you decided to eat while we're recording.
Listen.
Please leave this in.
I will.
Now, can you answer the question? How does the 10th Amendment play a role in this debate, Isaac?
Well, here's the thing. Since the 10th Amendment allows any powers that are not specifically given to the federal government nor withheld from the states and are reserved to those respective states or to the people at large, I think this plays a role in it for the sole reason that the states should decide. It kind of ties in, you see. If we're allowing people to make these decisions on their own, we should allow them to make the decisions of what they put in their body as well, and what they do with their body.
See here, this is not a 10th Amendment issue. Congress had already passed laws forbidding the use of marijuana all the way back then. And it is still a Schedule 1 drug, technically nowadays. Which means the federal government should have full possession to use the necessary and proper clause to do whatever it takes to hold its rules that they have passed. And that is binding through the Constitution.
Okay.
Fascinating. Well, that's our first question done. Let's move on to the next one. I'm so excited to hear both of your answers in the coming minutes. Has marijuana become a drug that could be used medically, making its scheduling invalid? Again, with the eating.
Well, I'm a hungry man. Okay.
Munchies.
No.
See, this is why. See here, this is why we can't have it be legalized by the states. He's not using it medically.
I'm not even using it. I'm just a hungry guy.
Use it medically, or is it just an excuse to get high? Do people really need it, or is it more of a necessity of enjoyment?
Okay. So, yes, it is a drug that can be used medically. There are people that require it for PTSD, like, I don't know, traumatic issues with their brain. There's a lot of people who need it just so they can eat from eating disorders.
You.
Don't use me as an example, all right? Yes, it's a drug that can be used medically, which would make the scheduling invalid. There are hundreds that rely on this drug and can't put it down for the reasons because they need it medically. A lot of cancer patients need that. Like, I could list a bunch of things, but I can't.
Wow.
Isn't there better alternatives, safer alternatives than marijuana?
No.
Such a addictive drug?
No.
So, yes. So if it was used medically, you're saying that it'd be used as a pain reducer and I guess not appetite suppressant, but inducer?
Yes.
Correct? Okay.
Yes.
You take it away, Andrew. Let's hear your answer to this question.
Listen. I'm sure some people do use it medically. I'm sure that it is very helpful for those people that do need it medically. But the number of people using it medically is not at all near the number of people using it
Hold it! Show the stats! Show the stats!
Well, the stats? I don't
Show
need
the stats now!
Man. I don't need stats. Where are your stats, bro? Where are your stats at? Vincent, pull some stats.
I think I have some. Pull some up.
Well, let me take the crumb off of my face, though.
Yeah, maybe try and look better. Cannabis, marijuana, is one of the most used drugs in the United States, and its use is widespread among young people. So this is a popular drug among younger generations.
Mm-hmm.
In 2021, 35.4% of young adults aged 18 to 25, 11.8 million people, reported using marijuana in the past year.
Is there a reason why?
Yep.
Is there a reason why they did it?
Well, I don't have that.
Well, these young people could have some serious problems.
For fun! Not medically.
Well, yes, people can use it recreationally, but I feel like the main purpose of this being a state... I almost said mandated. Some people might not want to use it recreationally, but only want to allow it to be for medical use. Some states
Well-
might allow recreational and medical, like Washington. Yeah, look it up. Look it up right now.
Okay. Well, hey Wikipedia.
This guy's relying on Wikipedia.
No, it's okay. It's okay to rely on Wikipedia. That's what the federal government wants you to think.
Okay, you're right. My fault.
This is very Vanderbilt. This is very last second. I did not know that I was going to be looking up a map for this, so know that.
Hi, Derek Vanderbilt.
We're gonna be cutting this part out probably.
Currently,
No.
the states which allow medical use only of marijuana are Utah, North Dakota and South Dakota, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Mississippi and Georgia, Florida, West Virginia, names this. I already said Florida. Hawaii, Kentucky, New Hampshire, Pennsylvania, and that's it. And you can throw in Puerto Rico in there if you want.
So, Andrew, to conclude on that.
See here, it is better if the federal government is able to regulate and control it so that it doesn't get in the hands of other people that may not be legally allowed to take it, like minors. Or it could also help with lacing or taking it off the streets.
Okay.
Which could cause issues for users of that substance.
Not provoking. But now that we've got onto the third question, I'd like to throw it back to a point that you said earlier, Andrew. You said earlier that Isaac here should not be using the drug recreationally, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That he instead marijuana should only be used medicinally. To that, I pose the question, why then is alcohol not regulated under the Controlled Substance? Marijuana is.
You didn't win anything. Stop celebrating. Alcohol is strictly governed and regulated by the federal government. For the Moms Against Drunk Driving, it regulates the age of people who could take alcohol federally and stops. And if states do not have that law of 21 or over to be taking alcohol, then they lose their highway funding. There is nothing in place like that for marijuana. That's why it's federally legal. It's because there's restrictions. There's ramifications for the states not following federal laws, unlike where there is for marijuana.
Okay. Okay. Do you have anything to say to that, Isaac?
I honestly just didn't acknowledge any of what you said and decided to look up the statistics for the amount of deaths from drunk driving. I don't care if there's an age limit. You could still die from alcohol. I don't think you can die from marijuana. So statistics.
Yeah, you can.
There's alcohol poisoning. You can.
You can
get alcohol poisoning, or you can be
so
stupid
high behind the wheel, you go driving off and die.
Okay, but can't also your alcohol be laced?
Because your alcohol is federally regulated, and the only places where you can get it safely and legally are at certified vendors that are federally licensed.
Every day,
marijuana.
Every day, about 37 people in the U.S. die from drunk driving. They die in a fiery hell fire.
I'm just not.
So
perfect.
does that happen? Does that happen
perfect.
to the marijuana smokers?
It could. It could be even worse.
All right. Well,
Okay,
let's look up.
okay.
You know what, Vincent? Why don't you look it up?
What I look at? You want me to be the middleman? Okay.
Yeah, you be the middleman.
What am I?
I might
looking
break
up
my
here?
keyboard. I'm shaking.
The rage.
The rage.
Building. I see.
It's
This has
the
become a
red.
this has become a much more heated discussion than I was expecting. So, what is it that you would like me to look up, Isaac?
I need you to look up the statistics of drivers that are induced with marijuana that die in a car crash. Compared.
How many car crash deaths are attributed to marijuana?
Oh, yeah, that's a better way to put that.
I just don't word things well. I'm gonna cut your words down, Andrew. Stay afraid.
Oh, okay, so this is from Boston University, EDU, in November 10th, 2021. The percent of crash deaths involving cannabis more than doubled from 9% in 2000 to 21.5% in 2018. And the percent of deaths involving cannabis and alcohol also more than doubled from 4.8% to 10.3% cannabis. 10.3%. Cannabis was a risk factor for alcohol co-involvement, even at levels below the legal limit.
See,
So, 21.5% in 2018.
okay. Now, for
Is that of total crashes that year, or car deaths? Car crash deaths. 21% of that.
I have no idea. I think
Okay.
it's car crash deaths. Yeah, percent of deaths. I think it's just out of all the deaths of car crashes, 21.5% are from cannabis.
So
21%
theoretically,
compared to a larger majority, I'd argue, of drunk drivers.
I don't think you're right. Because how many did you say? How many did you say died a year to drunk driving?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it says here about 13,524 deaths a year from drunk driving.
I mean, we don't have that exact number of that 2018 statistic, so we can't say.
This is from 2022.
Wow. Because that is very helpful and makes it a very accurate comparison.
Wait.
Now, as the hosts of this podcast, I'm going to say that we're going to get off this dime and move past this, because this has no basis in fact or research from either of you.
Okay.
So, we're going to move on.
I'm still right. Still right, though.
I have, by myself, have passed a bill of cloture on this topic. That's not how it works in the Senate, but it's how it works here.
That's how it works here. It's our own rules.
Okay. Now, we've come to the final question. Been a long night, a lot of arguments, to say the least, and unexpected turns in discussion. So, I will start with Isaac. Popularity and support for this drug has been on the rise, with younger and older generations on both sides of the party line. Though it's... Do you believe that eventually regulation of this drug will change?
Personally, I feel like it's going to be a hard fight for a lot of marijuana smokers and a lot of people who rely on it.
Oh, the fight has only begun.
Well, okay, wait.
They
I do
struggle
feel like
daily.
there are going to be heavier regulations in the future. maybe in various different states. I can't say exactly whether or not it's just going to be completely federally illegal, or if it's going to be completely state decision, because that's how I believe it should be. I think due to its popularity, there's going to be a little more regulation on it, because there has been some incidents where some younger people get a hold of it and do atrocious things with that. So.
Okay.
Listen, I think with enough time and research, and if the federal government has enough power to be able to regulate, that eventually it could move itself out of Schedule 1. But right now, there's not enough concrete evidence to be able to certainly, with 98% certainty, to say that it is completely safe to move out of that category. So for now, it should stay under the control of the federal government. But eventually, with enough time and research, we can move it out of the Schedule 1 area, and the federal government itself will be able to decriminalize it. Or uncriminalize it, not undecriminalize it.
I think decriminalize was the right word.
Yeah, I just put undecriminalize though. So that's a double negative.
It's longer.
It's longer.
Yeah.
So it sounds better.
They'll be able
That's a cooler word.
They'll be able to uncriminalize it, but it just needs more time, it needs more research, and just more concrete evidence to show that it is safe enough. Alcohol used to be banned in the state too. Prohibition was a big era, but eventually we came to this point today where it is not illegal, but there are tighter restrictions on it than there was back then when we originally banned it. So it just needs time.
All right. Well, any closing remarks before we end this?
No. Thank you, Isaac, for entertaining this filibuster. Very limited.
I would proudly be a part of this filibuster again. I'd argue. I'd say. This is a great time.
This has been Limited Filibuster. Thank you for your time, and good night.
We did it.